What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I saw this, and you guys know I love watching the Cosmic Wonder and all the things that he has to say regarding Marvel. So it says here 3 new Avengers teams to fight main Kang Trio, and that is interesting because we just keep getting a lot more news on this stuff. Hold on a second. Yeah, we've got some information on this, so let's go ahead and check this out.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren, and the MCU is getting really exciting right now with a lot of new characters about to enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but also a lot of old characters that are going to be entering the MCU for the very first time. Deadpool 3, Avengers Secret Wars, and possibly Doctor Strange 3 could bring us some ultra cool variants that we have yet to see in the MCU. And among these awesome variants that are going to be entering the MCU are the original X-Men. Now, we're not sure which variants these are going to be, but we do know that the original X-Men cast, most of them, are returning for Deadpool 3 and hopefully sticking around for Secret Wars. We know that Wolverine's going to be sticking around, Hugh Jackman, and maybe some others will stick around as well. And with so many characters about to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the ones that we currently have, the original Avengers that are still around, the new Avengers that are going to be coming, and the Fox X-Men and other old original Marvel characters like Ben Affleck's Daredevil, there are about to be a ton of characters in the MCU, which means we're going to have a lot of different teams. And we've heard recently that there are actually going to be 3 different Avengers teams when we go into the Kang Dynasty and into Avengers Secret Wars. Now, there are probably going to be many different groups that we see throughout these 2 films, and possibly even in between, but 3 Avengers teams just make sense for what Secret Wars is going to be about. Especially if you consider the fact that Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, has already teased us by telling us that there are going to be multiple sides of the MCU. We have the street-level Avengers team, the Cosmic team, and the Supernatural team. That's just for the regular MCU, but what does that mean for Avengers Secret Wars, where the multiverse is going to essentially be blown open? Anything is possible in the multiverse, and any character showing up is possible as well. Which is why Secret Wars is so exciting. It is literally limitless. And while the amount of characters and teams that we could have is limitless, I believe that these 3 different Avengers teams are going to be for a very specific purpose. And it just so happens, there are 3 main Kangs to look out for. The Kang Trio, or the Council of Kangs. And it could be that each Kang requires its own Avengers team to take on. Now, from the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, we were introduced to the Kang Trio and the Council of Kangs. Now, just to clarify, the Council of Kangs is 1, a group, and 2, an event that takes place. The Council of Kangs is not the thousands of Kang variants that we saw in the Ant-Man and the Wasp post-credit scene. Rather, the Council of Kangs is a select few Kangs who get together to essentially determine the fate of the multiverse. So in the MCU, the true council is most likely the Kang Trio that we were introduced to. This includes Immortus, Rama Tut, and the Scarlet Centurion. Now, the Council of Kangs does also, in part, consist of the other Kang variants, the thousands of Kang variants that we saw. However, it is ruled by the Kang Trio, and this is how it is in the comics as well. The Council is originally formed by Prime Kang, but in the MCU, it looks like Immortus is in charge, and in the comics, Immortus is the one with the plan to betray all of the other Kangs and make sure he is the last Kang standing. So I'm sure we're going to see something pretty similar here. And they call together the Council of Kangs, this big event where all of the Kangs come together, so they can basically explain what they want and get the other Kangs behind them and basically get them to do their will. Kang could really, truly dominate the entire multiverse. However, there is one big problem when it comes to Kang and Kang's variants, and that is Kang himself. No matter which variant of Kang it is, they will never trust any other version of Kang, and ultimately want for themselves to be the only Kang standing and the true ruler of the multiverse. That's why we think that our Kang Trio here is secretly against each other, and they have their own plans, and they're going to try to execute these plans. We're going to need a team of Avengers to stop each one of them. In fact, even if they do manage to actually come together and trust each other, which it's already kind of been shown that they don't trust each other, based on the way they were kind of bickering and snapping at each other in the post-credit scene for Quantumania, but even if they came together, they still have different roles to play, and that would still most likely require an Avengers team for each of them. So the question is, which Avengers team is going to take on which variant of Kang? Well, we know that we're going to have our main new Avengers team coming from our main universe in the MCU. This Avengers team will include characters like Sam Wilson's Captain America, Spider-Man, our new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, and possibly even Daredevil. We've heard rumors that Kevin Feige really wants Daredevil to be a part of the new Avengers team, so that'll most likely happen. But as you can see, this isn't the most super-powered Avengers team there is. Sam Wilson won't have the Super Soldier Serum, neither will Falcon. We do have She-Hulk, who is going to be a powerhouse, but Shang-Chi also doesn't really have that great of powers without the 10 rings, based at least on what we've seen in the MCU so far. And as far as we know, the 10 rings are Kang technology, so he could take those back or possibly even control them, leaving Shang-Chi without the 10 rings. So since they're not super ultra powered, perhaps they're best fit to take on Rama Tut. Now, we don't really know what Marvel Studios is going to create as far as the background for the Kang Trio, but in the comics, Rama Tut is essentially the first version of Kang the Conqueror that rules or conquers anything. When Nathaniel Richards finds the time travel device, the first thing he does is go back in time to ancient Egypt and becomes the pharaoh Rama Tut, and he rules over Egypt. That is the first variant of Kang. So if that remains true for the MCU, perhaps Rama Tut, that Kang variant, will be the, let's say, the least tech savvy, which could be why our main Avengers team would be more fitted to take him on. Then we have the Scarlet Centurion. When Kang goes back in time to rule Egypt as Rama Tut, eventually the Fantastic Four defeat him and drive him out. He attempts to go back to his own time, but gets stuck in a time storm. This forces him to go back to a modern era of Earth, the main Earth 616 universe, where he runs into Dr. Doom, who is believed to be his ancestor. Dr. Doom convinces him to drop Rama Tut and essentially become more like Dr. Doom, and that's how the Scarlet Centurion is formed. So naturally, just by the progression of things, this is a more advanced Kang than Rama Tut. So it would require a more advanced Avengers team, and this team is most likely going to consist of characters from our main universe, but also from the multiverse as well. This is where we get our more super-powered heroes, and most likely the job for some X-Men as well to be a part of the Avengers team. This includes heroes like Thor, Captain Marvel, the Hulk, Shuri as the new Black Panther, Deadpool because of his healing factor, and then some X-Men like Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops. So a little bit more of a heavy-hitting team. But then we have Immortus, who is most likely going to be the most advanced version of Kang, and therefore the strongest. And he does seem to be the leader of the Kang Trio based off of what we've seen from the post-credit of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The Scarlet Centurion even asks him, "How many of us did you call?" telling us that Immortus was in charge. He's the one who called the council, and he's the one who decided who they were going to call, and in his words, he said he called all of us. So all of the different versions of Kang. And as we saw their reaction from the audience, they looked super pumped to see the Kang Trio. So we know that these three Kangs are the strongest versions of Kang out there. So it's safe to say that if Immortus is their leader, he is most likely the strongest version of Kang, period. In fact, in the comics, there are actual timekeepers. I know they were revealed to be fake in Loki Season 1, but in the comics, the timekeepers are real. And they eventually go to Kang and ask him to be their agents. They go to him from the end of time itself. And they tell him that instead of destroying timelines, he should preserve them. And he becomes their agent, and he reinvents himself again, calling himself Immortus, because the timekeepers grant him immortality for becoming their agent. So in the MCU, this is most likely the longest living Kang, so therefore he is probably the most advanced Kang. And this means that he'll have the most advanced technology out of all the Kangs, but he might also have some powers. It is possible that he could have learned some type of sorcery or witchcraft. So the threat of this Kang could not only be that he has amazing tech and weapons, but he could also be what we'll call enhanced. If you live millions of years, you probably get your hands on some pretty cool stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually took some Super Soldier Serum at one point in time as well. That's just an example of what he could do with the technology that he has to travel throughout different points of time. Also, don't forget, he can literally go to the future and grab weapons. This makes him extremely dangerous. We already saw how strong Kang the Conqueror was in Quantumania, literally being able to freeze people in time and essentially erase them out of existence as well. This Kang is even stronger than that Kang, so it's going to take a pretty big and powerful Avengers team to take him on. So this is probably where we'll get characters like Professor Xavier, Doctor Strange, the Scarlet Witch, maybe Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force, maybe some different versions of Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic, because if you're dealing with a very advanced Kang, you're gonna need the smartest man alive there. And probably his wife, his brother-in-law, and his best friend as well. The entire Fantastic Four team. We know that different heroes are going to be fighting in different universes, until they eventually, if this happens, come together in one universe because of all the incursions. This could be where they come together as one big, full Avengers team. And yes, we are grouping other characters and teams into Avengers. It's pretty much just like what happened in Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. In Infinity War, we had actually 2 different teams of Avengers. Kind of 3 if you want to count Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy doing their own thing for a little bit in the beginning. But basically, we had the Avengers team on Titan, which consisted of non-Avengers like Spider-Man, although Tony Stark did make him an Avenger right before they fought, and Doctor Strange, who was not an Avenger. And then the same thing goes for the Battle at Wakanda. We had our Avengers teams there, but we also had Black Panther. Of course, it was Wakanda. He was not part of the Avengers at the time. And then, of course, Thor ended up joining with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Well, part of them. Rocket and Groot. The other Guardians were on Titan. So it's pretty much going to be the same concept, different Avengers teams fighting different battles, except add another team. And perhaps add even more considering the fact that we're going to be dealing with multiple different universes here and multiple different teams. But this is something that I absolutely cannot wait to see because I think it's going to be just super exciting if executed properly. Yeah. And also some characters might even jump groups and help with other battles as well until they all eventually come together. Just think of the portal scene in Avengers Endgame, but on a way bigger scale. On one side, you have the X-Men coming out. The other side, you have the Fantastic Four coming out. Then, on another, you have an Avengers team coming from the Earth 616 universe, and then another Avengers team from the Earth 838 universe, and so on and so forth. All of these heroes from the past, the present, and future coming together to defeat Kang the Conqueror and the Kang variants. It is super exciting to think about, but let us know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Does this excite you? And what do you think about the different teams of the Avengers? Who would you like to see on which team? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment because this enters you in a giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox Series X, a PS5, some Marvel Legends items, and some DC items as well. The winner gets to pick one item, and we pick a winner at the end of each month. Don't forget to like the video and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
I think that would be some type of mega Avengers movie. It absolutely insane. And they're all fighting different kings. First of all, that little snippet of information I didn't know. So, what's his name's rings are made of Kang's materials or Kang's powers. See, it's little things like that that I didn't know that kind of connects things for me. Like I tell you guys all the time, I didn't grow up reading the comics, but now that I know even little snippets of things like that that connect, you know, make these connections, it's really insane. But anyway, I would think it would be some type of mega war. Like the way that they're describing it, it sounds like it's a much bigger fight than the Avengers fighting Thanos. Like the fact that there's like 3 different universes and 3 different Avenger teams fighting 3 different Kangs is insane. I probably wouldn't change anything, but then again, what do I know in regards to the teams? The way that they described it here, it only makes sense depending on who's fighting which Kang. I think it just makes sense to have the ones that they named in each Avengers team to help fight each one. And if they kind of jump between universes to help each other, that sounds like it's going to be insane. But we'll have to wait to see what's going to happen, but I'm for it. Leave your comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts and what you think is going to happen. Do you guys like the teams that they have named here to fight each and every one of these Kangs? What do you think is going to happen once this does drop? And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel, hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later. Toodles!